Today, finding out about pregnancy can take only a few minutes. You buy a small test, wait, and suddenly a tiny line can give you a life-changing answer. It feels completely normal, but when you think about it, it is actually strange. A little piece of plastic can discover something happening deep inside the human body, something invisible, something that even the person cannot see yet. But now imagine asking the same question thousands of years ago. No pregnancy tests, no doctors with modern machines, no ultrasound, and definitely no ancient human walking into a cave store saying, "Excuse me, where are your pregnancy tests?" They had the same question, is a baby coming? But finding the answer was much harder, so humans started doing what they always do. Watching, testing, experimenting. And the journey from ancient guesses to modern pregnancy tests became much stranger than you might expect. Imagine being one of the first humans. There was no small test that could give an answer. No doctor could look inside the body. So ancient people had only one thing: observation. They watched what happened. One of the first signs people noticed was that the monthly cycle stopped. Then other changes could appear. The body felt different. Some women felt more tired. Some felt sick, especially in the morning. Food that was normal before could suddenly feel strange. The body slowly started changing. But there was a big problem. None of these signs gave a perfect answer. Feeling sick did not always mean pregnancy. Being tired could happen after a long day searching for food. Imagine an ancient human thinking, is a baby coming, or did I just eat the wrong berries? The most obvious signs came much later. The belly started growing, and eventually people could feel the baby moving. That was the moment when there was almost no doubt. But humans wanted to know earlier, so they started searching for other clues. One of the oldest known pregnancy tests came from ancient Egypt. And honestly, it sounds like something a person made up, because the test was not a small plastic stick. It was not a machine. It was plants. Ancient Egyptian women used wheat and barley seeds. Then they waited to see if the seeds would grow. Yes, the pregnancy test was basically a tiny garden. Today we complain about waiting 3 minutes. Ancient Egyptians had to wait days for a plant to answer. Imagine looking every morning. Still no result, but my pregnancy test has leaves now. They even believed different plants could predict if the baby would be a boy or a girl. Of course, they did not understand modern biology, but the idea was interesting. They believed the body created something invisible that could cause a reaction, and that idea was actually closer to science than it first appears. The most important part was not only the seed test, it was that ancient Egyptians started writing things down. They created medical texts where they recorded ideas about the human body. Some ideas were wrong, some sound strange today, but something important was happening. Humans were moving from simply guessing to observing. They were trying to find patterns. They looked at the body almost like a puzzle. If something happens here, maybe it means something else is happening there. They did not know about hormones. They had no microscopes, but they understood one powerful idea. The body leaves clues. And for thousands of years after Egypt, humans kept searching for those clues. Later, ancient Greek and Roman thinkers also tried to understand pregnancy. Doctors studied the body, they wrote theories, they asked questions, but they still had a huge problem. They could only see the outside. The real answer was hidden inside. It was like trying to understand a locked room without opening the door. Some ideas from this time were clever, others were completely wrong. Ancient doctors sometimes believed strange things about how the body worked, but even mistakes were part of progress. Every wrong idea removed one possibility. Every observation added a small piece. Humans were slowly building knowledge, one tiny discovery at a time. During the Middle Ages, pregnancy testing became even stranger. Some people became known for studying urine. They were sometimes called piss prophets. Their job was to look at urine and try to discover what was happening inside the body. They studied color, smell, appearance, and then made predictions. Imagine bringing your sample to someone and watching them stare at it dramatically like they were reading the future. Sometimes these methods were based on observations, but many predictions were not reliable. Still, humans were chasing the same idea. The body must be leaving a hidden message. They just had not found the right message yet. Hundreds of years later, science began changing everything. New tools helped humans see things they could never see before. Microscopes opened a tiny hidden world. Scientists learned that the body was much more complicated than anyone imagined. It was not just organs working separately, it was a system. A system sending invisible messages, and eventually scientists discovered hormones, tiny chemical signals moving through the body. The answer humans had searched for since ancient times was finally getting closer. Pregnancy did create a special sign. Humans just needed the right way to find it. In the 1900s, scientists discovered something important. During pregnancy, the body produces a hormone called HCG. This changed everything, because now humans finally knew what they were looking for. The body had basically been sending a secret message the entire time. Ancient Egyptians tried to find it with plants. Medieval experts searched for it with their eyes, but the real clue was invisible. A tiny chemical signal. Now the question changed. It was no longer, is there a sign? The question became, how do we detect it? Before the small tests we use today, one of the strangest pregnancy tests involved animals, and one of the most famous was the frog test. Yes, a real frog. Scientists discovered something interesting about the African clawed frog. When hormones from a pregnant person were introduced to a female frog, the frog reacted. If the pregnancy hormone HCG was present, the frog would produce eggs. This meant scientists could use the frog's reaction as a biological pregnancy test. Imagine waiting for your pregnancy result, and instead of looking for a little line, someone was looking at a frog. The frog was basically saying, "Congratulations." But in frog language. It sounds funny today, but this was actually a huge scientific breakthrough. For the first time, humans were not guessing from outside signs. They were detecting the invisible signal that pregnancy creates. Eventually, everything changed. Scientists created tests people could use at home. No waiting for plants, no unusual experiments, no complicated methods, just a small test in a few minutes. For the first time, people could discover the answer privately and quickly. Something that humans wondered about for thousands of years became something you could buy in a store. The final object looked simple, but the story behind it was not simple at all. Thousands of years of curiosity created that tiny test. The pregnancy test is a perfect example of how humans solve problems. The first ideas are not always correct. Sometimes they look strange. Sometimes they look funny. But every idea is a step. Ancient people planted seeds. Medieval people searched for clues. Scientists discovered hormones. And slowly, humans turned a mystery into an answer. A tiny line on a test represents thousands of years of questions. The next time you see a simple pregnancy test, remember, it is not just a piece of plastic. It is a human story. A story that started with people looking at nature and asking, how can we know something we cannot see? From a small bag of seeds to a small modern test, the goal never changed. Humans found a mystery, and they refused to stop searching for the answer.